Hey dudes, today I want to talk about keeping a sound mixer and a camera in sync by using two Tentacle Timecode locket boxes. So let's jump right into it. All right, so I have sitting on my desk everything that you're going to need, but you'll need a phone because we need to download an app. And then of course, you're going to need two Tentacle locket boxes. Here are the two tentacles. You're going to want to have one that goes to the sound mixer and is the master, and then one that is going to sync to that. These are just the charging cables, so put those aside for later, no problem. These will be important as well. We are going to lock the cables in place by using these clips, so keep those to the side. There's pieces of Velcro that you can put onto the camera or the smart slate. And then, of course, the actual cables to connect to whatever device you are going to go into. So, for example, this would be what plugs into the actual tentacle. And then this is what's going to go into the camera. This is a BNC. So if the camera timecode accepts BNC, that's what you want. If it's another format, like a LEMO, of course, you're going to need this guy right here, 5-pin LEMO, and this is what the mixer is going to want to use if you're using sound devices, for example. So there's two different types of ways that you can turn a Tentacle sync on. There is a quick turn on with the side button here, or there's a long hold. If you're setting up your Tentacle for the very first time, all you got to do is turn it on. In this case, I did a long hold and turned it green because I'm going to turn this to be the master. And on my phone, I'm just going to hit add device. There it is right there. And then it just says, move your tentacle very close to this device, which I did. So you saw I just literally held it over the phone. When I go to turn the second one on, I don't want to do a long hold. I just want to do a regular hold. And one way you can tell is just holding this down. The second the light turns red, bada boom, there it is. That's a short hold. It is now turned the second one on, and the red light in comparison to the green light is all good. All it means is that the red light is just waiting to be synced in the app, and we're going to do that on the phone. So I'm going to tap on it, and same rules as before. I'm just going to hold this close. There's a blue light also flashing on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but that means it's thinking. So I'm going to open up the one that is labeled master. The output volume should be set to line unless you are using a DSLR. That's the most common situation where you're going to need it to be mic because it'll actually print onto an audio track. In this case, we're going line because we're going straight to a timecode track, which is great. 24 frames a second. We change the frame rate as need be. 24 frames flat is what we're working with. 12 hours is when it will auto power off. I don't like it to power off any sooner than that. It'll last all day. And then all you really need to do is do sync to this device, sync all. Both of my time codes are flashing green, which is great. That means they are in sync with each other. Now you'll notice that this app is still kind of barking at me. It's got these yellow little warning signs, so to speak, on it. And what that means is that the timecode cable is unplugged. So really handy feature. Basically, we're going to take the master one and start with that. And if you watch the phone, when I plug in, that yellow warning goes away. And then all we're going to do is take this clip and slide it over just enough so that it's not coming off. You don't have to jam it in so much. It's just a way that it's going to protect this now from coming loose or anything. And particularly what's going to be important later is that these devices are going to stay on the mixer and the camera. So there's no way sort of for this to get accidentally or purposely unplugged. It's just a little safety net there. So we'll move on to the camera one. And you saw right there that it just automatically noticed that I plugged something in, put the safety on it, and that pretty much completes the setup. So having timecode is just like the coolest thing you can do for your post-production team, because that means at the click of a button, you can sync your sound files and your camera files, which is just totally awesome. What is vital to get this to work is that you must walk up to the camera with this, plug it into the camera, and leave it plugged into the camera for the whole day. There is no system that will work by just popping it and walking it. Forget about it. Leave it on the camera for the whole day and work with the camera department to put it in a place on the camera where everybody is happy. It is absolutely vital that you also leave the one that is supposed to go on the sound mixer. It is so important that it is constantly giving timecode to both the sound mixer and to the camera. One last thing that's really important to remember when you're setting this up is whatever mixer you have, make sure that you go into the timecode menu and you set that mixer's timecode function to receive an external continuous timecode source. That means you are not creating timecode out of the mixer itself, and you are instead creating timecode initially and originally out of the Tentacle itself. So the Tentacle is going to create the timecode and then create the system for all of the different boxes to speak to each other and say exactly in sync. So you must make sure that when you're plugging it into both the camera and the mixer, that you go to their settings and change whatever the settings are to be external continuous. On a camera, that might be something different like external free run or something like that. But check whatever camera you're working with and check whatever sound mixer you're working with to make sure that they're able to accept external timecode. And that's it. You leave them on the camera and the mixer all day. They stay in sync all day. And when you get to post-production, you click a button, everything is in sync, everyone's going to be happy, and it's a great workflow. So I hope you get to use this on all of your projects, and I hope it really helps sync your sound and video and post-production. Until the next time, later dudes.